Okay everyone, this is Avatar Stage 7, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the top things that you can do before level 50 that will make your life a lot smoother when you play this game and when you're progressing through it and all that usual jazz. And the first thing that will be most useful to you is to go through all the main quest skill lines, main quest and zone quests. So by doing that, you're going to get a lot of extra skill points. So I have an old skill finder mod here, your skill point finder, and you can see that if you do the main quest here, you can actually get up to 11 extra skill points. And in fact, this mod even shows me which quest I have to do, which in this case, my character has already done all of them. So this is extremely useful. I did this as a for many of my alts to quickly get them extra skill points to master their skills. So the main quest, and of course zone quests that are related to your faction. So I was Daggerfall Covenant, and I didn't actually do all of the zone quests perfectly with this Stamina Sorcerer. So I'm missing one from Stormhaven. So here you can see there's about 4, 3, 7, 10, 13, 16 skill points right here just from the main quest line. And so you're also getting quest experience too when you do these zone quests. And if you finish the main quest, you also are able to do Cadwell's Silver and Gold, which allows you to do the other factions, faction quests, such as from the Ebonheart Pact here, and also that which is in the Aldmeri Dominion. So I've done some of that with my Stam Stork here. And of course, don't forget there are also Sky Shards in each of these zones when you're doing those zones as well. So you're going to be getting lots of skill points, giving yourself a reason to go through the delves there and get all the Sky Shards and public dungeons as well. So this is a great mod, Urix Skill Finder, if you have Minion UI for ESO. So that's one of the major reasons why you should also be doing the main quest and the zone quests. So let's see if I can turn this off. Shift U. The other reason is you're also going to be able to go through the zone guide and acquire the achievements. I think that's under the library. Yes, achievements. So every time you finish the various quests for the main quest and the zone quests, as well as doing the delves and whatnot, you'll also be essentially finishing the achievements, which unlocks dyes for your outfit styles, but you won't see them here unless you go to an outfit station, which unfortunately Vardenfell's outfit station is a bit out of the way and hard to reach, so I'm not going to go run over there unless I go to Alinor or my own personal house anyways, or home. So that's one of the first things that you want to consider before level 50 is to get those, at least the main quest finished, and at least your own faction's storyline quests and areas finished, so that you can have lots more skill points to invest into your character. I found that around 166 is a pretty good point where you've got most of the main skills that you're going to be using at 50 and all the skills mostly at maximum, so that's a good point to aim with. The next one is obviously going to be probably your guild skill lines. That's the second most important one that you need to consider. So the guild skill lines you can access by going to the specific capitals. Various cities also have it as well, so if I were to leave this and go to, for example, Ebonheart Pact, and then click the city, you'll find that often the guilds are right beside each other. So here's the Mages Guild in Davin's Watch. The Fighters Guild is like right over here on the other part of the city. So going here allows you to quickly and easily get the skill lines activated by talking to the right people in the guilds. And of course, alliance capitals are the easiest ones to reach for most characters, especially if it's your own alliance. So say I leave this one, I gain back to Tamriel. I believe Yorodon is The Altmeri Dominions is usually Vuko Guard. Same thing here. Mages Guild, Fighters Guild, literally right beside each other. If you go to the taverns and inns, you can also become one of the Undaunted, though I'm not sure if you can do it as early as 45. Usually they send the invitation for sure for veteran dungeons at 45, but you can start doing dungeons as soon as 15. So if you go to these taverns in the Alliance capitals, you should be able to start the Undaunted questline. And all these all of these guild skill lines all have very useful passives and skills that you can use in PvE or PvP, or that boost your max magicka or stamina and things like that. So where's the one for the Daggerfall Covenant? Probably Glenumbra, Wayrest is one of them. Again, you can see the Mages Guild and the Fighters Guild are like literally across the street from each other. The taverns here will also have the Undaunted possibilities, like one of the quest givers or something like that. So that's literally the second most important thing you should be doing, is to open up these skill lines so that you get all the skills that will be useful to you when you hit maximum CP 160. So, for example, the guild skill lines that this character has, I mean, literally there's lots of them, but the most important ones are Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, and the Undaunted, which have the most useful skills. So Fighters Guild, lots of the useful ones are Dawnbreaker. If you can get to level 10, that's one of the most powerfulest stamina abilities that you can spam. You have Silver Shards, Silver Bolts, and Silver Leash. One of them allows you to add pulling as if you're a tank, and the other one is an extremely good AoE attack, no matter what kind of stamina character you are. Usually I use this when I'm using shields, because shields is usually such a low damage skill line. If you want CC, Turn Evil, the Circle of Protection morph is really good. Evil Hunter will give you more crit. Barb Trap will give you critical damage bonuses. The Barb Trap is the one that's much longer lasting, so it's much more useful. And if you're like a magical character and you want critical damage bonuses, then Lightweight Beast Trap could be useful as well. And a lot of these passives are very useful for giving you ultimate or giving you more damage when you're slotting Fighters Guild abilities. Intimidating Presence is useful when you are doing quests. Mages Guild, most of the Mages Guild abilities only center around the most useful ones of Meteor, Mage Light, maybe Entropy if you need more magic spell damage later on with Degeneration. Mage Adept, and not so useful actually. Everlasting Magic and also useful. Magic Controller and Persuasive Will. Persuasive Will is for quests. Magic Controller will give you more magicka when you slot abilities like Meteor or Mage Light, which can be useful for builds that need high magicka to do high damage. Useful in PvP, for example, or even PvE. And Undaunted has a lot of skills that are useful in any situation, mostly dungeon running. So Inner Beast allows you to taunt, or let's say the Inner Fire morph. Blood Altar allows your team to lifesteal from enemies who are inside the area. And the passives here are very useful as well, because they grant you either more bonus resources when you activate synergies from your other teammates, or they give you more max health and stamina and magicka, essentially more resources when you wear different types of armor, which might change in the next upcoming update, where the 7 pieces of one type will be more popular just because of the higher bonuses they'll be giving. So this might be less popular in the future, but it's still useful right now, and it could still be useful even in the next patch as well. You should probably activate your Alliance skill line. This is usually from PvP, but a lot of the abilities are now usable in PvE since many updates ago. And to do this, you need to go to Cyrodiil, which means opening Alliance War and going and joining one of these servers, for example. So you'd have to select the server and join it. I don't know why, but it's like not enter campaign. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so once you click on it, you can enter the campaign, and it'll go through a tutorial to open up the skill line. You can do that as early as level 10, and that'll give you access to some of the 2 skill lines, Assault and Support. For stamina characters, the most important one really is just simply getting your hands on Aggressive the War Horn. If you're doing dungeons, this can boost critical damage as well. And Vigor and Charging or Rapid Maneuver, just for 30% extra mounted speed, which allows you to travel through some dungeons and PvP Cyrodiil very much faster, so you can get to fights a lot quicker. And this is the healing ability that's the most popular for stamina characters, which is Vigor, which allows you to heal large amounts of health over a bunch of seconds. Especially Resolving Vigor, which allows you to heal thousands of hit points over a span of 4 seconds. For mages, not so much Assault, except for getting Rapid Maneuver. For them, it's usually support like maybe Barrier, which is useful for healers and tanks, and Purge, which is also useful for healers in terms of removing negative effects. The other ones I don't really care too much about, unless you're getting Magicka Aid, which means that if you slotted some of these support abilities, you can increase your Magicka regen. And again, that's more for Magicka characters. So that's another thing you should do before level 50. And essentially, you can do that as early as level 10, just by doing the initial Alliance skill line beginner's tutorial quest and doing that. And I've done that for all of my characters, so it's really handy for getting these useful skills, especially for stamina characters who often don't have very good burst healing or healing skills on their own, like Nightblades often need that as well. On my list, the daily dungeons and daily battlegrounds. Now, daily dungeons and daily battlegrounds are things that will give you extra bonus resources. So if I were say go to the Dungeon Finder, and this will show you that you have the random normal dungeon and random veteran dungeon. Obviously, if you're below level 50, you won't do random veteran dungeon, you'll be doing a random normal dungeon. And if you're only level 15, you only have a few dungeons available. Only by level 45 will you have all the normal dungeons available at that time period. And so this will give you bonus rewards like transmute crystals and a huge amount of XP, and you can do this once a day, of course. And this will also allow you to acquire set pieces even before you hit max level, because most sets they're kind of useless before you hit max level, because you'll really quickly outlevel them normally, and so you'll have to like scrap them. So instead, you want to stick them into your collections book, which if you hit U and you go to sets, the collections here will collect all of the sets you gather no matter what level you are. And this is account wide, so it doesn't matter which character at what level gets what piece. After you've worn the item or deconstructed it, it's saved in your scrapbook, so you can later reconstruct the pieces. So if you need a complete set, you can just use transmute crystals to rebuild it. And of course, the more pieces of that set that you've already collected from dungeons, the easier it is to rebuild that set. So let's say I'm Arx Corinium and I wanted to do Lamia's song. So normally it's like 50, 55 or something, or 60, and it drops down to 44 after getting this many pieces of the set collected. And if I wanted to rebuild the set, then all I would have to do is go to a transmute station, like the one at the City of Brass, or the Brass Fortress in Clockwork City, and pay the crystals and reconstruct this. Of course, you should have one character who is a master crafter who has all of the traits necessary so that you can assign the traits to these pieces. Otherwise, they'd be traitless. They wouldn't have the things like divines and or invigorating, the special abilities of armors, for example. So let's say what traits that I know, and I'll bring up my craft store traits. So these are the traits that armors and weapons and things like that can have. And obviously you want to have a master crafter, which I do have, but this isn't the character, who has all of these traits, so that when you rebuild the armor through the transmute station and reconstruction, you'll be able to assign that trait at that time. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the maximum power that you could get out of an armor or weapon set for that reason. So what else? Daily Battlegrounds. Again, you saw that you can also do Daily Battlegrounds here. And you can even do solo. So they haven't done the one where you can go in with your own teammates for some reason, maybe for balance reasons. But here, it's only up to level 50 characters, and there's no champion abilities, so it's great for characters of any level because it's more balanced playing field. You also get bonuses here, bonus loot and gear. You also get alliance skill points, or alliance points that allow you to advance your PvP rank, and of course bonus experience. So if you hate doing PvP in Cyrodiil, for example, by going through the alliance war menu and going into these, essentially, if you hate doing that, you can always just do one-off battlegrounds where you're just, fighting other players, not really running around Cyrodiil on your horse, for example. Crafting training is another really important one. As I said, you want at least one character who's a master crafter, who's learned all the crafting skills, preferably before the time you hit level 50. So if you really want to focus on getting one character to that point. So with master crafting, obviously you're going to be deconstructing useless gear and other things like that, like these rings. You'll go to deconstruct and deconstruct the things that you don't need, like these pieces, and you'll see that in this window here, it tells you what pieces you've deconstructed of the sets. For example, the endurance set, I have everything except the greatsword and the lightning staff here. So deconstruction will also make sure that that piece is stored inside of your collections, which I hit U and go to sets here at the top, and it'll be stored in the collections after you do that, as well as learning the traits as well. Well, the traits you have to research, so that requires you to go here, go to research, and then research the specific traits. I have a mod called Auto Researcher, which just allows me. This is more useful for your alts than it is for your main Master Crafter character. So, add-ons, Auto Research right here. This Auto Research one allows me to set settings to see, to have my characters automatically research whatever is in the bank right now. And I usually set it so that it's only up to superior items because, literally if you're just doing normal dungeons, the most types of useless loot will always be green and blue. Purple and gold I usually save for actually deconstructing to re-get materials. And it's useful to make sure that you have, for your Master Crafter, the skills that allow you to extract the most materials out of things you deconstruct. So usually for advancing the skill lines, you deconstruct anything and everything, no matter what it is usually, unless it's purple or gold, in which case you should give it to your Master Deconstructor or your main deconstruction character or crafting character. And that'll be extremely useful so that you can also learn the abilities to temper your own gear if you don't want to have to keep giving it to your Master Crafter all the time, so resin expertise and things like that, plating's expertise. And these are the most important reasons why crafting skills are useful to your character, unless of course you really, really hate crafting, in which case I can't help you there. But by doing so, you're able to quickly acquire all of the set pieces into your collection book, like I said, for all of this, and you're also going to be able to research all the traits that you need to assign so that you can actually rebuild all of this gear. So for non-crafters, this becomes a bit more of a problem unless they're willing to buy it off someone else. You can craft these items unbound and sell it to someone, I think, if I'm correct. Or not. No, actually I think it's character bound. Is it bound and pickup? It's bound on pickup. So no, you can actually, you could probably give it to someone else if you craft it for them. So that gives it some more value for crafters to make sales, for example, or trades would want to do. Unlocking your armor skill lines is probably the next one. And this is useful because you want to be able to switch roles very easily. So right now I'm my Stamina Sorceress, and I've got Alpha Gear 2 that allows me to switch between heavy sets and medium armor sets so I can tank or do DPS. So obviously, if I want to be able to switch to tanking, I need to be able to have all of the heavy armor passives and switch to that gear. You can wear heavy armor without the heavy armor skill line, you just won't be as effective, because obviously with all the passives I get extra hit points, extra max health, extra restoration, regeneration of my energy when doing heavy attacks, I have more health recovery and more healing received, for example. Similarly, for medium armor, you get higher damage, higher stamina recovery, things like that. Light armor gives you just higher spell penetration, higher crit chance, higher damage, essentially, for that reason. Well, for crit chance, it doesn't really give you direct damage except the penetration. More magical recovery. So by having these skill lines, it's useful for switching roles, though for most stamina characters I almost never switch to light armor, so I usually skip this line. But it's recommended to have all three, and when you're leveling you should have at least activate the skill lines by using 3 pieces of light, medium, and heavy armor, and then later on as you're leveling you have 1 piece of light on your shoulders and 1 piece of heavy on your head, so that you'll eventually hit level 50 for all 3 skill lines. And that's why it's pretty useful. Also, it helps with Undaunted Metal from the Undaunted skill line here, because this skill depends on you wearing 3 different types or different types of heavy armor, and so you can get a bonus of up to 3% by having light, medium, and heavy armor equipped on you per type of armor. So that would give me more health, more stamina, more magicka, which can also translate to more sustain, more survivability, and more damage. Well, there's mount training. Mount training is probably one of the most tedious issues. The Elder Scrolls doesn't make it account-wide, probably because they want you to buy skill books for out of the Crown store, Gem store, to do it. But there's literally 3 skill lines here, which is like, you know, speed, stamina, and carrying capacity. Carrying capacity actually increases your own inventory space, so you want to level that too. But speed is most important for getting to dungeons and PvP areas quickly. And so you need to do this literally every 20 hours to 24 hours for each of your characters.
You look like you know.
My characters here have all maxed it out, but it takes a long time, so it's like literally 2 months per line in order to max it, and it'll take you essentially half a year in order to master those skill lines. And it's really important because of those reasons I just said, just getting to places faster. You can't imagine just how annoying it is to have to run with a magicka character who has no stamina capabilities and isn't wearing medium armor just to get to a dungeon. So this is why mounts are so useful, and the mount skills are important to level before you hit max level, especially if you're a beginner character. And finally, an interesting little known fact or thing that you can do before level 50. This is more for veteran characters than it is for beginners, but a beginner who knows about this at least will know about it before he becomes a veteran, is that you can actually assign skill points, champion points, even before you've hit level 50 or CP 160. You can actually assign this, and it'll boost your damage, your survivability, your tankiness, and your power, even at level 1 if you've already got champion points. This is a little known fact that even I didn't know about until recently. So all my alts who were before below level 50 had their champion points assigned, and they were a lot more harder to kill and able to do more damage and survive better than a regular alt who didn't assign their champion points, because most people believe that the champion points can't be assigned until you're actually level 50, but apparently you can actually assign them before level 50. So those are the top 7 things that you should probably be thinking about doing before you hit level 50 and before you hit max level or max CP 160, because that'll make your gameplay a lot smoother and, you know, also make things just a lot easier. Plus, doing the main quests and zone quests will also speed up your leveling experience as well, and how fast you actually level up. So that's it. That's the top 7 things, and hopefully you enjoyed that. Please do subscribe to my channels wherever you're seeing this, and I'll see you next time.